Happy Tuesday with Tamika. Thank you guys for joining me for yet another episode for 2025. Y'all, we have been doing this for 5 years. Happy New Year from Tuesday with Tamika. I am super excited to bring you our first podcast episode of the year. And what I wanted to do in today's episode is I wanted us to look back into 2024 and just celebrate all the things that we have done, that the community has done. And hopefully, this will give you an idea to go back and celebrate. Now, listen, many social media influencers, life and relationship coaches, therapists, counselors, folks like that, they tell you we should never look back. And that's true when we are looking back for things that don't serve us. But sometimes it is imperative to look back so you can see how far you've come. Oftentimes, we're so focused on the next big thing, where we're going, the next big thing, that we forget to look back. So let's jump into today's episode. You already know what it is. Here on Tuesday with Tamika, we believe in lifting as we climb, turning our trials into treasures, living a life to inspire and not impress, loving as if we have never been hurt, and opening up and allowing God to fully restore us. If you are new with us and you're listening on YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe and share. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you go over and rate us, give us those 5 stars so more people can hear and know about the podcast. So, 2024, it had its up, it had its downs. It was literally a roller coaster. When we look back over all the things that the year brought us as a community, I think one of the biggest things is in 2024, I was turning 44. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that 44 is my number. Like, I literally have been seeing the number 44 or 444 or combinations of 44 for my whole life. So, first of all, my birthday is April 4th, 1980. The last 4 digits of my phone number are 44. It is like I'm just surrounded by that number, and God often shows me that. So, I want to start by telling you the biblical meaning of 444. So here on Tuesday with Tamika, we don't play with angel numbers. We won't do none of that. We go to the Bible for everything. And so the number 444 can have multiple meanings, but the basic meaning is it is God's divine guidance. So when we see 444 repeatedly, it can be a sign that our angels are close by and that they're here to help us. And I never seen an angel, but I often feel the presence of angels all around me. It also means the number of change. If you think about the way God does things, there's 4 seasons, right? And that's because there's constant change in our lives. So the number 4 indicates a time of change. It also indicates that things are changing in our life and in our relationship. Earlier in 2024, I'm not sure if it was 2024 or late 2023. I received a prophecy that God was changing my voice. He was changing my sound. He was changing the way I move in this earth. And we're going to get to that a little bit later in the show, but God literally did that. It also means completion. There will be things that complete. So 444 is like cycle or a phase reaching completion. And lastly, 444 indicates love. So the phrase love the Lord appears about 444 times in the Bible. And one thing about me, okay, I love me some God. I love me some Jesus. So that number moving into 2024 was going to be my 444 year. I was turning 44 and I was super excited about it. It was the 24th year. So everything felt like it was going to line up. So I was believing God for bigger. God actually gave me the word bigger for 2024. So I was like, yes, I'm ready to walk in it, believe it. But on the day before, the day after my 44th birthday, my mom passed away. So there were other things that happened at the beginning of the year, but the most significant thing that I remember happening is my mom passing away. It was on the eve of me having my Blossom Brunch, my 5th annual Blossom Brunch. So I have been doing Blossom Brunch for 4 years up until that point, and this was the 5th year. God had given me this grand idea to talk about the 5 domains, and you can go listen to the 5 domain podcast. I talk about the 5 domains of our life, and I had a panelist of I think I had, like, over 13 speakers. We had the first time that I had, obtained sponsors, so we had big sponsors. We had, just I mean, it was catered. It was at a beautiful location in Pomona. I had pre-planned this before my mom had gotten sick. Now, you guys know that my parents are both from Pomona and I rep Pomona very heavily. And all of this had happened and then my mom died the day after my birthday and the day before my blossom brunch. I remember sitting there thinking, this doesn't feel like love. This is definitely a completion. You guys know I talk about successfully completing relationships. Prior to my mom dying, I had to love her as if I've never been hurt. Like I added that pillar of the podcast, loving as if you've never been hurt. And I wanted to add it because I wanted to talk more about relationships and love and how God can bring you your soulmate and your divine person. I didn't realize that God was setting me up to love my mom as if I'd never been hurt. So I really had to walk out that pillar, y'all. I had to walk it out big time. And God showed up. Blossom Brunch, I had over 80 guests in attendance. I mean, it was literally standing room only. There were a bunch of brothers that had to give up their seat. There were people sitting in the back. And I was blown away because I also made a decision that year to part ways with someone. There we go again with completion. I made a decision. I had formally done the Blossom Brunch with a partner, and it was hard. It was a difficult decision, but I felt the need to do Brunch solo, not for any selfish reasons or anything. I don't know. God told me to do it. And one thing about me, when God tells me something, I believe it and I walk in it and I step on it and I just go. I don't ask many questions. I just do what God tells me to do. And it was phenomenal. Like it exceeded my expectations. Like, I was blown away. It was beautiful. It was community. There were people of all different races, all different gaps. It was bloomers to Gen Zers and to millennial. I mean, it was everybody was there. It was beautiful. And so I started to feel like this is good. I kind of stepped away from coaching in the traditional way that I had been doing it. Now, you know that it's okay to hit restart. It's okay to step away from things. Sometimes we hold on to things so heavily. We hold on and it becomes our identity. And the way that you truly know that a thing is not an idol, I didn't even know I was going to go here, y'all. This ain't nowhere in my notes, but here we go. The way I knew that coaching was not an idol is that I was willing to give it up. And I'm always willing to give it up because one thing about me, I don't want anything to control me to the point that I feel like I can't eat, sleep, move, breathe. And I don't know who this is for, but it may be time to surrender something. It may be time to give something up that is causing you to feel controlled, that's causing you to feel stagnant, that's causing you to feel like you've lost your way. And if you don't do this thing this way, then it's impossible for you to do it. I want you to consider that. I want you to literally, here we go. Grab your pens, grab your paper. We about to get to the coaching. I want you to write down all the things that you feel like define you. Who are you? Who are you? Ooh, that's another one, y'all. I'm going to talk about who I am and who I transitioned to be. Who are you? Mom, wife, sister, friend, business owner, psychologist, social worker, baker, cashier at Walmart, whatever you are, write down all the things that you feel like identify you. If someone was to mention you, black, woman, Christian, right? All of those things. Now, I want you to look at those things. Are any of those things that you've written on the paper, have you made an idol of them? Years ago, I made an idol of being a mother, and I literally had to release that. Not that I released being a mom, because I'm going to forever and always be a mom, but it was higher than my relationship with God. It was more important than the 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 purpose that God had given me in life. I was so focused on being a good mother, and that's because I didn't have a good mother. So I had to surrender that. It didn't mean that I stopped being a mom or I stopped being less of a great mom. It just means that I stopped idolizing it. So I want you to look at all of those things on that paper. What do you need to surrender? And this is very simple. You could literally just say, Lord, I surrender these things. Daily, I surrender my business. Daily, I surrender my body. Daily, I surrender myself because I don't want anything to take up so much space in my life that I'm not honoring God. I surrender this podcast. I do it all, right? So I had to let go of that partnership with Blossom Brunch, and God did his big one. And it was phenomenal. And it was everything that I expected. I surrendered the coaching business, but God did more. He grew the Becoming Her membership. So I still have clients that I coach one to one, but then God opened up a space for me to coach women in a very, very intimate way, but to where they could afford it. Basically, let me just call a thing a thing. I was worried about people not being able to afford my services. And because my heart at the beginning of 2024, another thing that I said is I wanted to help 100 women heal. I have been able to do that through my speaking, through my coaching, and all of that stuff. Okay, let me pause for a minute. We're going to take a quick pause in the podcast and I want to tell you about digital marketing. So throughout this podcast, I'm going to be stopping and I'm going to tell you about digital marketing because it's a new branch of Tuesday with Tamika. Digital marketing has helped me to really help more people, and I want it to help you. If you are listening to this, come here real quick. Lean in, lean in. I want you to email me at tuesdaywithtamika@gmail.com, and I want to give you a template, talk to you about digital marketing, set up a one-on-one call completely free because in a little over a month, I have generated my first $1,000 in business doing digital marketing, and I want you to do the same. All right, back to 2024. So, becoming her membership, alive and well. And then my speaking, y'all see me. If y'all was following me on social media, I was on a plane almost every other week. Okay. I was gone traveling, and it was everything that I had asked for. It had been everything that I had asked God for. Wait a minute. Let me go back because we didn't even talk about the scholarship. We didn't even talk about my son getting married. We didn't even talk. Remember, I told you guys that 2020 or God told me that it was going to be a bigger year. I had to open up my heart bigger for my new daughter-in-law. I had to open up my faith bigger for my daughter leaving and going to college on a scholarship, right? I had to open up my heart bigger on the new home that we walked into. I had to believe bigger. So bigger wasn't just about what I was going to get, but it was also about how I had to show up in the world. So here's the thing, at the beginning of the year, listen, we are a few days into 2025 and everybody is like 2025, I'm a thrive. We try to find all these rhyming words, right? 2025, I'm going to be alive. 2025, everything gonna be all right. That don't really rhyme, but y'all know, y'all get what I'm saying, right? And everyone's telling you, post your word. What's your word for 2025? And we post these things, but when it does not show up, or when we don't rise to the occasion, because yes, God told me that that 2024 was going to be my bigger year, but guess what that meant, y'all? That meant I had to have bigger patience, bigger faith. I had to show up bigger in the world. I couldn't care about who wasn't liking me, who wasn't following me, which one of my siblings was mad at me this week, which one of my kids was tripping. I had to be bigger. I had to be bigger in my thought process. I did more reading than I had ever done this year. I reached out to sponsors and to what do you call these people? Big influencers. I had to show up bigger. I had to stop playing meek and mild because I was worried about what people were going to think about me being bigger. I had to do it. I had to rise to the occasion. So when you are thinking about your word for 2025, are you willing to do that? My word for 2025, well, I'll save that to the end of the podcast. So I had to show up bigger, y'all. I had to do the bigger things. When we look at the way my life, Tuesday with Tamika, and here's the thing, we just moved into this new neighborhood. We've been here for about 3 months now, 2 to 3 months. And as we were driving up, there are like wild animals, y'all, like literal wild animals that roam our neighborhood. We're right on a mountain range, and so we have wild donkeys, we have coyotes, there's snakes, there's all kind of stuff that are in our neighborhood. So because we are cohabitating with these things, sometimes they get into our trash and they, wreak havoc. They do what wild things do. There are people that live in our neighborhood that are not rising to the occasion. And I believe that they may not be here long. I don't know if they're renters, I don't know if they are owners of the property, but when the animals get into their trash, they're leaving the trash all over the place. Because of this neighborhood is beautiful, y'all. We shouldn't be driving down the street seeing trash. This is what I'm trying to say. What neighborhood are you renting in your mind? What neighborhood are you renting in your soul? What neighborhood are you renting in your body? Because if you are allowing trash to be in your mental mind, if you're allowing trash, I'm about to get on somebody. If you are allowing trash to go into your body, if you are allowing trash to be in your soul, you are not rising to the occasion of the neighborhood that you want to live in. One of the richest neighborhoods in California is 90210. If you a 90s babies, a 80s babies, you know all about the show 90210. Very rich people, Rodeo Drive, all that fancy stuff, right? People that live in that neighborhood behave a certain way. There are other neighborhoods with different zip codes in California and all over the other parts of the world that people act a certain way. They real hood, they real ghetto, they real trashy. And this ain't no, I ain't trying to offend nobody. I'm just telling you, where is your mental zip code? Where is your spiritual zip code? Where is your physical zip code? Where is your financial zip code? Because that is where you're going to act. In 2024, I had to expand my zip code. I had to raise my zip code. And those people that are attached to me, they had to do the same. Or they fell off. I lost big time, y'all, in 2024. There are some friendships, there are some relatives that I don't feel like they're family anymore. They will always be relatives, but I don't feel like they're family because we are in different zip codes. We're in different neighborhoods. Shoot, we're in different counties. We're in different states. We own a whole new different planet, I feel like. Mentally, emotionally, and not that I'm better, not that they're better, not that none of that. It's just I changed my zip code mentally. In 2025, coachable moment number 2, I'm asking you to change that zip code. If you want more out of life, it is up to you to literally, and some of you guys need to literally do this faith action step. You need to go to the post office and get a change of address form and just when you get the form right in there, I'm changing big bold letters. I'm changing my mental zip code because it's time. You got to stop being depressed. I know that some of us, it's a chemical imbalance. Do something about it. Go get the therapy, go get the coaching, get the medicine. For some of you, it is situational. Stop, move that situation. Change it, y'all. In order for you to be more, do more, have more, you got to do something. You have to do something. So I want you to, some of you need to change the zip code of your physical body. You've been saying for the last 10 years, I'm about to drop this 20 pounds. When are you going to get the gym membership? It's too expensive. But yet you go to Starbucks or you go to drive-throughs and you spend what it costs to have a monthly gym membership in one sitting. Come on, make it make sense. Some of you guys need to move your spiritual zip code. Yes, you have church hurt. Yes, that's real. And yes, I'm sorry that it happened to you. But are you going to live the rest of your life mad at God because of what people did? Change your religion, your spiritual zip code. Elevate. It's time to go higher. I had to do that, y'all. My faith was tested in 2024 more than ever. I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about digital marketing, and then I'm going to tell you my words for 2025. But before I do that, listen to this commercial. Hey, 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 are you ready for an amazing business opportunity? Are you ready to break generational curses and build the wealth that you have prayed for? Well, listen, with Digital Boss Academy, we have hundreds of ebooks, planners, and templates that you can use and get personal resale rights. Yes, you heard that right. You can literally sell the products that are already done for you in your own digital store. Yes, every single one. Digital Boss Academy has products that lead to profit. It is your time to create legacy. It is your time to do it while inspiring others to do the same. Become the curse breaker you've been praying about. Click the link in the show notes to start your journey today. All right, y'all, we back. So in 2025, my husband and I, actually 2023, we walked into this brand new home. It was beautiful. It was everything we thought we wanted and needed. And 6 months into 2024, we fell on financial hardships. Money wasn't moneying, and we got behind, but then we caught back up because God is sufficient. His graces, His mercy, all of that stuff. When we went to pay our rent, the manager, whoever, they wasn't doing right by the money. We got a notice on our door that we had to be out of our home in like 3 days. Y'all, when I tell you I was stressed, I have never faced an eviction. I have never, when I tell you I had to push pause on the negative and play on the powerful. This is a technique that I teach. I tell people when the negative self-talk come, make sure you push pause, push pause, push pause. Baby, your girl had to go into all her coaching techniques because I was like, Lord, ain't no way. Ain't no way you put me in this marriage and I'm facing these things. Ain't no way you told me that this is going to be my bigger year and we about to be living in a motel. Ain't no way I'm going to have to tell my kids to pack up all their stuff and we about to be separated and some living here and some living there. Ain't no way. I was stressed. So we got 3 days. We had 3 days to move out of this home. First day, me and my husband, we go drive up to some houses, and I'm like, faith is on 2%, y'all. Y'all know when your phone is about to die and you trying to charge it, and you like, listen, I need the supercharger because this thing about to die. That's exactly where I was at. I'm trusting my husband. I'm trying to trust him, but low key, I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm like, how did this happen? What is going on? I mean, and in the midst of that, I'm leaving a lot of the juicy stuff out, y'all. But in the midst of that, cars were being torn up. We got in car accidents. It was just so much stuff happening. Like we were pouring money out, and it felt like nothing was coming back in. But yet God is telling me this is your bigger year. This is and I'm like, how, where, when, what? I mean, now mind you, I was doing some big stuff. I was speaking, I was traveling, I was doing, but it just felt like, you know what it felt like, y'all? And I don't know who's ever felt like this, but it felt like there were holes in my pocket. It felt like every time I generated some income, it was running out. It was falling out. So day one, we go look at this neighborhood. I'm like, oh my God. We look at this one house and I'm like, this is it. This is beautiful, but how we gonna afford this? We were struggling to pay the rent that's $1,000 less. How we gonna pay this? And my husband's like, just trust me, just blah blah blah. And I'm like, baby, I did that before. And okay. So I'm like, it's whatever. The next day, and I'm stressed, y'all. I can't sleep. I'm like, I don't know what happens when folks get I don't know what happened, y'all. I'm looking up YouTube videos. I'm like, are they about to come lock us in? Is the sheriff they about to pull us out? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen because I've never listen, I lived off the swipe and pray for a very long time prior to my husband, us getting married, but I never had to face an eviction. One thing I always did is pay my rent. So phone got cut off, the cable got cut off, the non-necessities, right? But I made sure that me and these kids had food, even if it was top ramen, and I made sure our rent was paid. So I did not know what to expect. I didn't know what was happening, and I literally had to have big faith. I literally had to have big trust. I literally had to have big patience. I just I had to, like, I had nothing else to stand on. So day two, one of my girls, we go to the doctor's. She has to get a physical for school. She's track, dance, all the things. We go in, she's having back pain, so I mark that on the thing. The people tell us they can't see her and they cannot excuse her and give her a good bill of health because she's having this back pain. And I look at the doctor and I say, but it's just growing pains. She's growing. That's all this is. The moment that came out my mouth, y'all, the Holy Spirit was like, "That's it. All of this that you're going through is growing pains, Tamika, because I'm trying to stretch you and make you bigger. It's temporary. I know the pain feels real. I know the pain is hard. I know that it's all of those things, but it's temporary." So I left out that listen, I think every time I go to the doctor, they probably be like, this girl is crazy. She is literally in a psychosis because God speaks to me in ways that in weird times, right? In times where I should be like mad and angry. Why y'all not going right off? Now I got to do this and da, 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 da. I walked out there like, whoop, thank you. Only God can do it. Only God can do it. Oh my God, do, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. All of that, y'all. I'm singing. I'm happy. I'm like, the devil is a liar, right? I'm doing all that. I tell my husband and he's like, "Exactly." And we like going back and forth and oh my God, it was a beautiful moment. Day 3, my husband says, "We got the place." Y'all, I barely even knew that the man applied. So now we have 5 hours, 6, I don't know. I don't even know because there was so much grace and favor. We moved our whole entire 5-bedroom house in 5 hours. I ain't gonna hold you. Me and the kids didn't do much. We was just taking stuff downstairs and putting it in the living room. My husband and his workers, they did the thing, and my son, they did their thing. And God just continues. He just continues. He just continues, y'all. When you trust him, when you let go of your idols, when he tells you something and you believe it, like without wavering. And for those of you that are like, I want to believe God, but I don't know how. One of the prayers that I prayed over and over is, Lord, I believe you, but help my unbelief. Because there were many years that I couldn't believe God, that I didn't believe God because of what people had done. And I'm not crying because we're in this big, beautiful 3 master bedroom house, 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms. That's not why I'm crying. I'm crying because God continues to God. He continues to show up. Even me doing this podcast is evidence of God. I tell people all the time when I had that stroke or when I experienced that stroke, because I don't have anything that's not like God. I experienced a stroke because experiences come and go. Somebody needed that. Somebody is listening to this podcast just to hear that. Depression, you're experiencing it. It comes and goes. Anxiety, you're experiencing it. It comes and goes. Homelessness, you're experiencing it. It comes and goes. You're not homeless. Stop attaching negative things to who you are. You're just having an experience. So when I experienced the stroke, doctors told me that the damage on my brain is exactly where speech is developed. How in the world am I on this podcast speaking to you? How are your ears hearing me? Because God said bigger. Because God knew in 2025, on January, whatever date this podcast drops, that you needed to hear that. So, 2024, God told me, surrender and expand. Y'all, don't that sound like contradictory words? How do you surrender and expand? God said, trust me, Tamika, surrender. Surrender it all. Surrender the way you've always been doing things. Surrender the way you think. Surrender your expectations of me. I went on a 3-day fast at the end of um, 2024 in December. I didn't tell anybody. I think my family knew, but they always think I'm fasting because I be like, I ain't eating or whatever. But I went on a 3-day fast and I surrendered my anger towards God because I was mad at him that my life hadn't blown up the way I believe it's supposed to have blown up. I surrendered my expectations. I surrendered the fact that I still struggle financially. I surrendered why haven't I become famous? Why isn't my social media blowing up? Even though I got 10,000 followers on Instagram, I got 6,000 followers on TikTok, I got 6,000 followers on Facebook, thousands on all the other I don't know. But I'm still like, oh, it's not enough. This unrealistic comparison to other people, right? I surrendered all of that. And it's a constant thing because I know something's going to pop up and I'm going to have to surrender again. I'm going to have to ask for forgiveness. I'm going to have to go through all the things again. I surrendered my need to be perfect. I surrendered my need to perform. I surrendered my control. I surrendered my arrogance. Everything that is not like God, I surrendered it. And I'm continuing to surrender. I'm surrendering. God called me to be a minister. I never wanted to be a minister, y'all. I surrendered and I'm in the school of ministry. So that means that I have to surrender parts of myself that I feel like I could do this. My flesh want to do this. No, I got to surrender because now I'm accountable to people. I surrendered not wanting to be a part of a church and we joined church and we're thriving. We're doing all of these amazing. I surrendered and I'm going to continue to surrender. And I want you, whatever word God places on your heart, if you haven't gotten that word yet, set an alarm, set quiet for 5 minutes, and the first word that comes to your mind, that's it. This is what God's going to do. He's going to confirm it. So you're going to see it on a billboard, you're going to hear it in a song, you're going to see it on a TV show, you're going to watch a TikTok and it's going to be or a Instagram, whatever. It's going to show up and God's going to confirm for you this is what you need to do. But God told me, not only am I surrendering, but he's also going to expand me. And that's what he's done. And at the end of 2024, God grew my Facebook group that I had for y'all. I started that Facebook group in 2020. It was stuck at like 400 followers and they weren't even that active. I don't know, I think we're nearly 700 now, 650, something like that. Growing. My coaching business, growing, expanding. The digital marketing, which is really truly the expansion that I want to talk to you guys about, just blowing my mind. But that's what happens when you let go of your idols and when you trust God. And when you surrender. So, I don't know, y'all, kind of rambly. I hope this encouraged. I hope this inspired because forever and always we going to be healing and forever and always we going to be living a life to inspire and not impress. I love y'all with my all. Please share this with somebody. Fine. Listen, we're expanding. So I'm going to push you. Find 10 people. 10 people. Hold down the link and text it directly to them. Tell them whatever your word is and send it to them. And then ask them to send it to 5 people. I love you guys with my all. I pray nothing but goodness and mercy over you forever and always. Until next week. Bye bye.